Howdy everyone, Pete Daddy here. Today is the day. We've been given a whole new batch of icons to go through. It's Icon Swaps 3. So what I wanted to do is go through each and every single icon we've been given, let you know who's worth grinding for, who's just okay, and who is just complete garbage. But first, before we get started, let me show you how this works. We can earn up to a total of 24 Icon Swap tokens for Icon Swaps 3. However, we can only earn 12 for the next 40 days or so. And you get them, it's the same old thing. If you've been around for Icon Swaps 1, Icon Swaps 2, very similar. You get wins from having first owned players from the 5 major leagues. You have some extra ones that you can kind of do concurrently with some of the other ones. And then you have 4 from squad battles. So that's 12 we can earn. And why that's important is because in about 40 days or so, roughly in that neighborhood, we're going to have something coming out called Team of the Season. And when Team of the Season gets here, we're just going to have high rated player after high rated player, just epic players left and right that aren't going to be that expensive. Hopefully, we'll still get like guaranteed Team of the Season packs. I mean, they've changed so many things around. I hate to bank on getting anything that we've gotten in the past, but hopefully, we'll get some stuff like that as well. But so that's going to weigh heavily in our decision making process. So just wanted to let you guys know that. And also, if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe down below. Post new content basically every single day. This is my Christmas to Glory team. Completely restarted at Christmas just because I needed some new fun in FIFA. But let's just get right into it. Let's see what we can do. I guess I'll say first and foremost, fair play to EA. They did include a lot of icon moment players. I wasn't sure if they were going to do that or not, so I am glad to see a lot of moments players. There's certain things that I'm not happy with, but we'll get to that. But I will say I'm glad at the lower levels, especially like the first 4 are all moments players, and that's for 7 tokens, and 9 tokens. So that is fair play, and I kind of feel like the icon swaps, or the original idea of the icon swaps, was to help the casual player get icons, and I'm fine with that. But what it's come to is that us die-hard players are losing out on players icons that we used to have in previous versions, like R9 or Ronaldinho or Cruyff or Eusebio. So I did a video a couple weeks ago showing my team from FIFA 19 with like Prime Holland and Prime R9 and Prime Eusebio and whatever icon I wanted to get. And now this year, the only icon I have in my team is Prime Essien from Icon Swaps 2. So I don't think it's really lived up to the hype of what they were trying to accomplish, or maybe that was what they're trying to accomplish. Have the icons just be at a whole nother level to where the average person can't get them. So I don't know if that's what they're doing. It seems to have worked in that way, but let's just get to them. First off, for 6 Icon Swaps tokens, you can have this Jari Litmanen Prime Icon Moments card. And I'll say about this one, and you'll see this with some of the icons, they will look like they have really solid stats, but they just don't play that way in game. And I would say Litmanen is one of those. When you look at these stats, you're like, gosh, that's a pretty solid card. Good stats all around. Like you see that attack positioning 97, finishing 95. But he just does not play that way. I've played with him a ton in drafts. And I'll also say I've tried to use a lot of these different players or base it off my experience. Some of them I've played with in previous FIFAs, but some cards that were really good in previous FIFAs are nowhere near as good this year, and also vice versa. Some cards that were bad in previous FIFAs are good this year. So I'll just say this Litmanen is just not up to par. But I'll say if you're a casual player and you could only get 6 icon swap tokens, this is a really solid card to take. However, if I was going to take one of these lower cards, I think you would get the most impact to your team from this Gattuso. If you need a defensive mid, I guess you kind of have the options. I would not take Trezeguet, so I'll just put that out there. Trezeguet is one I would just pass on unless you're just a big fan of him from his time with the French team or Juventus or something like that. But Trezeguet just does not play that well in game for some reason. Again, he has immense shooting stats, but probably the biggest reason, and he didn't play that well last year either. I think that was the first year of his icon, but you see there, agility 71, balance 60. That's just something that's very important in FIFA 20. So I would just stay away from Trezeguet. If you're someone who's only going to complete the minimum, then make the decision on, okay, do I want an attacking mid or do I want a defensive mid? In my opinion, Gattuso is a better defensive mid than Litmanen is an attacking mid, if that makes sense. Gattuso has just amazing defensive stats. Outside of heading accuracy, accuracy, everything is in the high 90s, and heading is just not that important. As far as a chem style, I honestly would probably put something like a catalyst on him, maybe even engine. Engine would boost his agility up a little bit, make his dribbling a little bit better. Maybe I would even lean engine. Probably catalyst or engine are probably the two that I would lean on the most. And then that way he'd be able to control a little bit more of the midfield. You know, you'd be able to pass the ball to him. He'd be able to distribute, make some nice passes for you. So I think Gattuso is a really strong defensive midfielder, and he would help control that area of the midfield for you. Now I'll just say that if that's only if you're a casual player. If you're an experienced diehard FIFA player, we're going to have better options than Gattuso. Like I would almost even say Conte, even just gold Conte, I would say would play better. You know, some big Gattuso fans may think that's sacrilegious to say, but I just, in game, Conte I think would play better. Allen I think will play better. So there's just going to be players that play better, but if you're a casual, this Gattuso will help you own the defensive midfield. And then if you need an attacking midfielder, Litmanen is a solid option. He'll also help you link some other players. Same thing with Gattuso. Having that icon helps you with your chemistry, helps you link different leagues. So it's a solid player. It's just not an overwhelming player. So Litmanen and Gattuso are nice for casuals. I'll give a fair play to EA there. If you're someone that's just going to complete the minimum of squad battle challenges, Litmanen and Gattuso are not bad options. However, if you want the attacking option, I'll just go back and forth on some of this. Gattuso is the best defensive midfielder option on the low level. But on this first page, if you were deciding between Litmanen or Laudrup, go the extra 3 icon swap tokens and get this Laudrup. This Laudrup card is much, much better than Litmanen. If you look at some of his stats, you know, solid pace already. He needs a boost to his shooting, especially if you're going to play him in a really attacking position. But where his stats are, he's someone that could be boosted perfectly with a Deadeye or a Sniper or a Hunter even. So he's someone that can be boosted with a Chem style. But he has nice dribbling already, nice passing. His only thing that's poor is his shooting. But like I said, we can take care of that with the Chem style. So I would take this Laudrup over the Litmanen. So if you can make it to 6, try to make it to 9 if you want an attacker. An attacker either in the midfield. Laudrup could play anywhere from striker to cam, so don't be afraid to use him in any of those roles. If you were going to play him wide, definitely consider boosting his pace so he can make some of those runs up the wing. But so attacking wise, especially on these lower level ones, take Laudrup. Defensive midfield, take Gattuso. So let's move on. Let's see what we've got next. We have Puyol, who looks like an amazing center back. However, he has one problem that's really going to hurt him this year. Look at his agility and balance. 55 agility, 56 balance. And I've preached this time and time and time again. Agility is so important in FIFA 20. Probably one of the most important stats, and one of the things you guys will notice, a lot of the new cards EA releases, they're putting that like 99 agility on them just to entice us to either spend money to get the card or work to go through the milestones to get the card. So most of the attackers that we're trying to defend against have upper 90s agility. So when you have a center back, even though he has these absolutely immense defending stats, when you have someone that can just twist and turn in the box, it's going to be hard for someone like Puyol to control a Neymar, to control a Messi, to even control a Daniel James. Just those players that are shifty and that can turn, that it can move. It's just going to be hard for Puyol. And also his pace at this point in the game is a little bit low. It certainly would be usable, but you know, if you put a shadow on Puyol, all you are boosting is his pace. I mean, look at his defending stats. Those are just absolutely insane. 99, 98, 95, 98, 94. I mean, these are ridiculous stats. The other thing where the agility doesn't bother me as bad is if you have a really tall center back. It just seems then they can kind of like grab onto those shifty players and hold on to them. Puyol is only 5'10", and that's not a big deal, as we'll see when we get to Cannavaro. But you know, it's not. It was a big deal last year. It's not a big deal this year. But for me, from my experience, if you have a shorter center back who doesn't have good agility, then they get overrun two ways because they can't move. Plus, they don't have that big body model in game to prevent players from getting by them. So it's a pass for me on Puyol, even though he does have amazing stats. When I've played with him in drafts, I do enjoy him. He does do some defending work. He's just not going to move for you, and he's not worth the addition to your team. Then we get into an interesting one. We will come back to this. The Prime Icon Pack for 9 Icon Swap tokens. This is probably the biggest thing I'll say. Very, very nice, EA. I believe on Icon Swaps 1, it was only a base icon pack. It could have been a mid icon pack, but I'm pretty sure it was a base icon pack, and it was 18 Icon Swap tokens. And then Icon Swaps 2, it was a mid icon pack, and it was 18 tokens as well. So fair play, EA, making this one 9 tokens, and we'll get back to this one in a little bit. Next, we have Marc Overmars Prime Icon Moments. Now, Overmars is one I just cannot figure out. When you look at this card, you think this would be one of the top cards in the game. You know, I get them in drafts all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just look at those stats. 97 acceleration, 95 sprint speed. You look over here, 5-star weak foot. My God, this card is absolutely insane. 90 agility, 91 balance. How can he be stopped? But for some reason, I just never get him into the game. If I have him out wide, it seems like I'll never end up passing to him. He never really just gets involved. I mean, I feel like Deadeye or maybe even Sniper, just to make his agility super high, would be really strong for him, would make his stats absolutely insane. But I just cannot figure out how to get him to work. And part of me is thinking I may even take Overmars, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I'll let you know what I'm going to do or what my plan is as of now. But because it's just like this card has such good stats, I wish I could figure it out. If you guys have had success with Overmars, let me know what you're doing, because like I said, when you look at these stats, especially when you think about them with a Deadeye or maybe even with a Sniper, you just think, oh my gosh, this is going to be, and 5-star weak foot, you think this is going to be an attacker that cannot be stopped. But I've never, even in previous FIFAs, he just seems like he disappears. And it's similar to, he's better than this, but it's similar to like Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs also has some stats that make you think, okay, Giggsy will be pretty good in game, but he just kind of disappears as well. So I don't know what's going on with them. But if you've had success with him, let me know. And like I said, I may even end up taking him. He's on my list of high players that I may take. And part of it is just because I want to figure him out. I'm just like, how can I get this guy to work? So Marc Overmars. Next, this is the one that disappointed me the most. When I saw Ruud Gullit was in Icon Swaps 3, I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But down deep, I kind of had the feeling, is it going to be his base version? You know, any of you diehard players who have played with Gullit over the years, you maybe have tried out his base version at certain times, because the way it's worked in previous FIFAs, we generally didn't get the Prime Icon SBC till a little bit later in the year, so it wasn't like from day one you could complete the Prime Icon Gullit SBC. It took several months into the game cycle before you could. So I know me personally, I have bought, let me get it on over here, I have purchased this base Gullit before and played with him in my team, and he is just nowhere near as good as his mid version or his prime version, and of course especially his moments version. So it was very disappointing to see. Gullit has been my favorite player. I won't even say favorite player. He is the biggest difference maker in all of FIFA, at least from the past several years. He just does everything at just an absolutely immense level. Plus his body model in game, he's big, he's strong, he can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble. I mean, he does everything. I mean, he can defend. He does absolutely everything amazingly well. But for some reason, this base version just does not play at that level in game. He's fine. He's just not there. So it was heartbreaking for me. It's like, couldn't you at least put his mid version in? I mean, we're coming towards the end of the game cycle. We're getting close to team of the season. Give us something, EA. And to see this base version out there of Gullit just broke my heart. So for a lot of us, you know, the last several FIFAs, I know our in-game team may have been Prime Gullit and Prime Vieira. This year, if you did Vieira from Icon Swaps, you have his base version, and now you'd have Gullit's base version. So it's pretty far step down to go from Prime Gullit, Prime Vieira to base Gullit, base Vieira. So that is frustrating to say the least. You know, I don't know. I love Gullit so much. I still could even see myself talking myself into taking Gullit, but I don't think I will. But I mean, it's a fair price for 10 Icon Swap tokens. I would have rather this been 24 Icon Swap tokens and at least been his mid version, or 24 and been his prime version would have been. But I guess everybody would have taken that at that point. So now we're over into Frank Lampard, and one thing I want to point out, Frank Lampard is 10, and the next one, Paolo Maldini, is 13. So anyone you want to take in the next 40-some days is from Frank Lampard back. And I may have done that backwards. Sometimes the way I film is backwards. But anyway, from Frank Lampard back. So anyone you want in the next 40 days is either going to be Litmanen, Trezeguet, Gattuso, Laudrup, Puyol, a pack, Overmars, Gullit, or Lampard. And I'll just say this right now, none of these players are groundbreaking players that are just going to completely change your team. So that is pretty frustrating. They made this Maldini. I wish they would have made Maldini 12. That would have given everybody something to work towards for this particular season, or to have someone in the next week or two that you can just slot into your team. That would have been really nice. So I'm really frustrated with that they didn't give us that opportunity to have a really game-changing player to be brought into your team over the next several weeks. I mean, 40 days is a long time of FIFA. I mean, think of how many promos we could have in there. And if team of the season is out in the next 40 days, most of these players are just going to be rendered completely useless. So as far as Lampard goes, he's solid, but he's another one who has a huge weakness. And you guys may see it right there staring at us in big yellow colors. Agility 66, balance 64. And for Lampard, who's going to have to work around in the midfield, I mean, he's got amazing shooting stats for a midfielder, great passing stats. You know, his pace is even okay for a midfielder. But when you see that agility, it just really kills this card. So then you're forced to either put a sniper on him, put an engine on him, and boost his agility at least up to a usable level. I mean, this is a solid card if you can live with that agility. But in the midfield, that seems to be the most important area in FIFA 20. You need players that can kind of control that space. And Lampard, if his agility was 76 and then say we could boost it to 86 with a sniper, I would maybe be saying this Lampard card is worth taking. But with that 66, 64 agility and balance, it just really hurts this card. Would give me a big pause on taking him. And that's the other. Look at his defending stats. Even defensive awareness 73. I mean, this would be an amazing box-to-box midfielder if that agility was just a little bit higher. And even strength 85. I mean, this Lampard is just like this far away from being an absolutely epic card. But that just really hurts him in my opinion. So I would stay away from Lampard, but I know there's a lot of Lampard fans. If you're a big Chelsea fan, you may be taking this Lampard anyway and saying whatever, I can deal with the agility. But if you're just taking him from a pure FIFA standpoint, I would stay away. Just not worth it in my opinion. But then we're starting to get into some of the bigger boys, and I'll say EA did a good job of releasing some of the bigger icons. We're still left. We don't have a Cruyff, we don't have Eusebio, we don't have Pele, but we don't. Who else are we missing? They did Vieira, they did Gullit. They've got Zidane a little bit later. I'm sure we're missing someone else, but at least some of the bigger names, like they do have Gullit here. They've got Maldini, we've got Dalglish, we've got Kaka. So they did release some bigger names. Now, Maldini, he has been the creme de la creme of defenders in FIFA for a long time. Everyone's just like, oh, get to Maldini, get to Maldini. But this year, it seems like this may be one of the first years Maldini is not the top-notch defender that he was in previous FIFAs. One problem, this is just his mid version. But again, we'll look at this. Look at his agility and balance, 61 and 64. And, you know, and I hate to keep harping on that. But it is. That's one, if not the most important stat in FIFA 20 this year. Especially, like I said, all the attackers we're going against are just that shifty, super shifty, Neymar, Mbappe, all of those players that can just move around in the box. And so you need center backs and defenders that can also twist and turn and move with them. You know, if you get somebody like even a Ben Yedder, if you have him and you're facing up against them, he can turn right, he can turn left. If you don't have a defender that can turn with him, it's just going to be an easy scoring opportunity for your opponent. So that's and I haven't seen Maldini in like the top level teams like I have in previous FIFA. So I'm thinking, I mean, Maldini he's going to be solid for you. Don't get me wrong. Those are amazing stats, but I would just say there may be better options or maybe more things to work towards. So, and we may even, once I tell you my plan, you may even want to take Maldini as well. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But for me, he's not really worth the grind, I guess I would say. We're going to have better defenders at team of the season, if that makes sense. So if you want this Maldini, or what I'm trying to get to, you're not going to have Maldini for another 40-some days, and there's going to be better defenders in the game by that time. You know, there's already better defenders. There's going to be even more better defenders in the game by then. Then we get to Kaka. Kaka's another one I've had mixed reviews or mixed opinions or seen mixed things about him. I played with Kaka. I don't know if it was this version or his prime version or what. This is his mid version, right? No, this is his prime version. So this is the version I did play with. So this is prime Kaka. You look at his stats. You know, a lot of us watch Kaka play. I mean, just absolutely epic footballer. But for me, I could not get him to work in FIFA, and it wasn't quite the same as Overmars. He was involved in the game. He just didn't seem to like be epic, I guess. You know, I was expecting a lot when I played Kaka in my team, but he just didn't do the things that I wanted him to do. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. But again, if you've had good luck with Kaka, let me know down below. I have not seen Kaka on a lot of teams. I saw him early in the year. I know Kaka's a favorite of a lot of people. I mean, like I said, just absolutely epic footballer, but just sometimes they just don't translate in game. But again, I don't see any stats that would make you be like, gosh, Kaka's not usable. But for me personally, just from my personal experience, I would not take Kaka. I just could not get him to do what I want him to do, especially for 15 icon swap tokens, and also especially because right beside him we get into the first game changing player that's out there. And there's going to be better ones, but I'm just going to say that if I had to pick, if I could get to 15, I would take the time to get to 16 and take this Kenny Dalglish. Dalglish is just an absolute monster in FIFA 20. And one of the big things, he has 5-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves, high medium work rates, work really well. He has high agility. His pace can be boosted. He's perfect for something like a hunter because you see his shooting stats are already really nice. One of the things I don't like about a hunter is that it doesn't boost your shooting all that much. It's like +5 boost on like the main ones. But when you have someone who already has really high shooting stats, Hunter works perfectly. So you put a Hunter on him, he's 98 acceleration, 97 sprint speed. His shooting is going to be high 90s in all of the main important categories. His passing is even okay for a striker. The only thing hurting his passing is long pass. And if you're asking Dalglish to make long passes, you're using them wrong. His dribbling is insane. 90 agility, 89 balance, 94 reaction. So just from top to bottom, dribbling is amazing. You know, just an amazing, epic player. This would be a game-changing player. However, I do think there may be better options out there. But if you like Dalglish, I would highly, highly recommend him. I've loved playing with him all year. Even his base version is epic. Dalglish plays amazing in game. I do wish it was more than his mid version, but I understand because he is a pretty overpowered player. So Dalglish is the first game-changing player that we're getting to. So let's go on. Ian Rush. Ian Rush is an interesting one. I would say stay away. He does have some interesting stats. The thing I don't like is his agility is a little low, but you see that shooting stats just absolutely immense. But if I had to pick between Ian Rush or even mid Dalglish, I'm taking mid Dalglish every day of the week. Ian Rush is interesting because he does have high medium. He does have the 5-star weak foot, but he's only 3-star skill moves, which can impact some people. But, you know, for me, if I was picking between the two, I'd take Dalglish every day over Ian Rush, and that's just how it is. Then we get to another one, another game-breaking player, in my opinion. At this 16 icon swap tokens, you're going to see a lot of game-breaking players. And I guess let me just tell you this right now. I'm very, very, very upset. You know, I'm happy in a way that prime icon packs are 9, but several of the players I want are at the 16 level. So if I wanted to take a prime icon pack and one of these at 16, that adds up to 25. I can't take them. I can only get 24, so it's really frustrating. You know, they know how to price this stuff or know how to put it to just make you just pull your hair out. It's just frustrating. But this Bergkamp card is absolutely epic. This is another game-changing player. So Bergkamp, Dalglish, those are your first game-breaking players. If you're someone that has a strong team, but you don't want to just grind, try to get these 16 icon swap tokens. That's only 8 in this round and 8 in the next round. I would say, in my opinion, Bergkamp will hold up better through team of the season than Dalglish will, but Dalglish may be more fun to play with, if that makes sense. Bergkamp, though, this prime moments Bergkamp, I mean, just look at those shooting stats. 99 attack positioning, 98 finishing, 97 shot power. That's before any boost. So, I mean, you don't need to boost his shooting at all. So, I mean, Bergkamp, ridiculous shooting. The problem with Bergkamp is his agility and balance. However, where his shooting is already immense, you put an engine on Bergkamp and you have an absolutely insane player. Then that boosts his passing, that boosts his dribbling to epic levels. Look at that 99 composure, 98 reactions. And then that would make his acceleration 92 and sprint speed 89, which is more than usable in either that cam to striker role, or even in a CM role. I probably wouldn't play him deep. You want Bergkamp attacking, attacking, attacking. So probably cam striker is going to be his best use. But I mean, this is an absolutely game-changing card, and I think he would hold up through Team of the Season if you wanted to use him. The other thing that's really nice about Bergkamp and some of the other ones we've had, like Gullit is, I don't know if we've had another one, but he is Dutch, so he's going to link with someone like Virgil. Virgil's going to have a Team of the Season card. I don't know. Last year, he got that Premier League Player of the Year SBC, so some of us did that one. So, Virgil's going to have an absolutely insane Team of the Season card coming out, so that would link up with that one really nicely for chemistry purposes. But this Bergkamp card is an absolute monster. So far, out of everyone, if I just had to pick one, it would be Bergkamp. I would take Bergkamp over Dalglish, but Dalglish would be just a hint behind Bergkamp as far as game-changing players go. Then we get to our new icon, Riquelme, and another amazing player, but players like Riquelme and Pirlo, players like that, it's just hard to translate their game into a video game. So even though he has some really nice stats, and I don't have a lot of experience with him, he only came out a few weeks ago, so I've only just barely seen him, so I can't say a whole lot, but based on things I've seen from people I do trust, they're kind of saying that he's not worth it, so I would say stay away from the Riquelme, but, we may need to get more information. He's one that I can't attest to a lot personally, but just based on, his pace hurts him a little bit, but it's not that bad in the midfield role. But some amazing other stats. Maybe you could even put something like a hunter on him. That maybe would be interesting to boost his pace up a little bit, boost his shooting up a little bit. I mean, I don't know. He does have some interesting stats just from what I've heard and from what I've seen. I would say stay away from the Riquelme for 18 icon swap tokens because we're getting up to that level now. Grinding out 16 icon swap tokens is a major time investment. I mean, that's a lot of rivals to play. That's a lot of squad battles to play. It's a lot of grinding. So you need to be absolutely certain that the player you want is going to fit your team, that he's what you want. So just really make sure to focus and be clear on what you want. Watch videos, try to test them out in drafts. If there haven't been many loan versions of icons this year, so that's been a little frustrating. But other than that, I didn't even get them, but there was a lot of you let me know down below. There was a Riquelme loan, and I just didn't even want to try to complete them. Guys, let me know how he played for you. If he's absolutely epic, it may be worth me checking him out and seeing what he's going to do. But let me know down below how he played for you. Next, we get to Diego Maradona, one of the absolute legends. We get his mid-icon version for 19 icon swaps. The only bad thing I can say about Maradona, I've played with Maradona millions of times in draft. He's absolutely insane in game. But what always happens, look over under the physical column, his stamina is 75. And it's not that low. I mean, we've played with players like Dembele, I think is that low or lower. And a lot of us play with Dembele, running him up and down the wing at the early parts of FIFA. But for some reason, I don't know what it is and what's his work rates, high medium, so it's not even high. For some reason, Maradona seems to just burn out. I don't know what's going on with him, but he just seems to burn out every game I've ever played with him around the 60th minute. I've never had him in my actual team because of that. But maybe those of you who have had him, maybe you can use like a stay forward instruction, and maybe then he can last a little bit longer. But that's been my only gripe with someone like Maradona. Other than that, you can see here, absolutely insane stats, but just be aware of that stamina. I'm not going to get him just because I think I would rather have Bergkamp. And also Maradona's kind of went crazy in his later years. It's kind of soured me personally on what Maradona is. But I know a lot of you guys love Maradona, so that's just part of what's going on there. But absolutely insane stats. Just watch out for the stamina. Then we get over here, another amazing. If you need a defensive midfielder, there's not many better in the game than Petit. If you just look at these stats, nice pace, nice shooting. His finishing's a little bit low, but you're usually not going to call him to shoot a lot. Solid passing. I wish his passing was a little bit better in vision. Dribbling is immense. His defending is nice. Physical is nice. So just absolutely top to bottom, amazing stats all the way around. I've played with this Petit a lot in drafts. Really strong player. If you need a defensive mid, just a player. And I don't think he's that great as a box to box personally. He's more of just that pure defensive, win the ball back. He can distribute the ball fine for you, but I don't like him in attack much. I just like him in that pure defensive midfielder role. But solid, but again, I don't know that he's worth 19 icon swaps. Part of that is because look at who we have next. Fabio Cannavaro, prime icon moments. Now this is a game-changing card. So we now have Cannavaro, we have Bergkamp, and we have Dalglish as game-changing cards, as team-changing cards. So this is maybe a stretch. I'd have to think about it a little bit, but potentially the best center back in the game. And if you look at his pace, look at his agility, 87 agility. So I've been talking earlier, you see that Maldini, excuse me, that Maldini was like in the 60s, the Puyols in the 50s. Now look at Cannavaro, 87 agility. And combined with that 87 acceleration, 86 sprint speed, nice balance, nice reactions. Defensive stats are absolutely insane. 99 interceptions, 98 defensive awareness. You don't even need to boost his defending. You don't even really need to boost his physical. I think there's one chem style. Is there a chem style for dribbling and physical? Which one is that? So I haven't thought about it enough what chem style would be the best for Cannavaro. Maybe even an engine that would boost his pace up, would get his agility and balance to immense levels. I don't know. That may be something to think about, but if we do end up taking Cannavaro, we'll have to really think about that. Now we get to a card that may be the absolute best card if you are someone who has a team of the year level God Squad team. This Carlos Alberto is absolutely immense, and he may be the best player in this icon swaps. And I guess when I say that, or I guess another way of putting it, he's better than what's next, if that makes sense. So like for center backs, there's a ton of great center backs. Even though Cannavaro may be the best or near the top, there's tons of other great center backs. As far as right backs go, there's a lot of great right backs, but there's not a whole lot of immense right backs. And Carlos Alberto is next level right back. So if you're someone with that team of the year God squad and you need that little bit of extra oomph, this Carlos Alberto is probably what you're going to want to go for. However, the problem is he's 21 icon swaps. So if you're someone that's kind of got a great team but not a God squad, you're not really going to want to put 21 icon swap tokens into a right back. So that's kind of the conundrum there with Carlos Alberto. Absolutely next level stats. He only has one stat that I am not in love with. Let me get back to that. And if you see there, I mean, just insane stats top to bottom, but his long pass is 67. I've talked about this a number of times. You need to make those passes up the wing. His vision is amazing. His short pass is amazing, but the long pass is a little low. But other than that, I mean, look at his defending stats. I mean, look at your right backs, even your great right backs. Look at them sometime. Look at their strength. Most of the right backs in the game, the great right backs, are in the 70s or low 80s. And I know we can boost them with anchors and all of that type of stuff, but this Carlos Alberto is already at 90 strength, and his aggression could be boosted a little bit. I'd probably say put an anchor on him would make him just absolutely insane defensively. He's high medium, 4-star weak foot. So this is just an absolutely insane card. This is the card I'd go for if I have a God squad and I just need that last little umph to make my team just that little bit better. I'd say this Carlos Alberto is next level, absolutely insane. Next, we come up with Garrincha, one of the new icons this year. And I'll say I'm slightly disappointed. I've been playing with Garrincha a ton in drafts lately, but it's been mostly his icon moments card. And I've noticed a difference. Sometimes I have had his prime card, and I've noticed a difference or a drop off going from his prime card to his moments card. His moments card is absolutely ridiculous. Like, you can't take the ball off of him. It's similar to Ronaldinho. Like, just his dribbling is just next level. You cannot, even when you kind of attack the ball on him, he seems to maintain his dribble. So he's absolutely next level. But his prime version is not as good in my experience in game. So for that reason, I'm going to say stay away from Garrincha. He is a very, very nice player. He's going to help you link a lot of other players. but just for some reason, this prime one has not played as well for me as his moments. So for that reason, I'd say stay away, especially when you compare it to some of these other players that I do think are completely game changing. Now, you're not going to go wrong going with Garrincha. I would just say he's not quite as good as some of these other players that are going to help change your team around. And especially, he's also playing right wing. I would just assume take the regular goal Messi as this Garrincha, and gold Messi is what going for. I haven't checked him for a couple weeks. Last I looked, 600,000. He may be even lower now. So for that reason, again, I would just say I would rather have Messi at that coin level than this Garrincha, and have someone like Cannavaro or Bergkamp or someone like that in my team. And then last but not least, we get to one. This is one I'm absolutely frustrated with, EA. You give us Zidane. However, it's his base version. It's only the 91 Zidane. So this makes, let's see, the first one, I think the big prize was the Haji and the mid Drogba. Now this makes two icon swaps in a row where one of the top prizes was base Vieira and now it's base Zidane. At least give us his mid version. It takes a long time to grind 23 icon swap tokens, or make it. Well, I've said this before too. If you want to make it a little bit harder, make this 24. Make us get every single icon swap token. It'd be worth it to make that the mid version. So that makes this just really frustrating for me. I mean, Zidane's absolutely insane in game. I don't know that I've played with his base version. I probably have in draft. I just remember playing mostly with his prime version and moments version, and those are absolutely epic cards. You look here, he's amazing top to bottom. He's going to be able to play about anywhere from a box to box mid to an attacking mid. He doesn't have the greatest defensive awareness, but still, he has good interceptions, good stand tackle. He's going to be able to get into those areas. He's a good size, 5-star, 5-star. That's always a lot of fun. So there's a lot of things he can do well. I'm just frustrated it's his base version. So for that reason alone, and just how hard it is to grind 23 icon swaps, I'm going to stay away from this one. He's a really nice card. If you want to grind that far, he's going to be good for your team. I'm just really upset that they only gave us the base version of Zidane. So let's kind of recap a little bit. There's a couple like game-changing players. I would put Zidane in the game-breaking mold. It's just that having that base version just really gets to me. It just really grinds my gears. But game-changing players for me, Carlos Alberto, but I'd only take Carlos Alberto if you have a God squad and you don't need improvements anywhere. It's not worth putting 21 icon swaps into a right back. When team of the season comes around, we're going to have 92, 91, 93 really strong right backs. They may not be quite as good as Carlos Alberto, but it's not worth putting 21 icon swaps into a right back if you need improvements elsewhere. Cannavaro is a game-changing player, and Bergkamp is a game-changing player, and Dalglish is a game-changing player. However, I would say Dalglish is if you took one of those, Dalglish is probably the one that's going to be the first to be replaced when team of the season comes around. I think Bergkamp, and I believe Cannavaro, and I believe Carlos Alberto would survive your team for team of the season. They're going to be players that you're going to keep in your team. They are prime icon moments players, so that's the best version of those icons that you can get. So if you do need a right back, Carlos Alberto. If you need a defender, Fabio Cannavaro. And if you need an attacker, then it's going to be Dennis Bergkamp. And Bergkamp can also play that attacking midfield role. So let's talk about now what we can get. Again, you can get up to 24 icon swap tokens. So if you needed an attacking midfielder, but you also needed a defensive midfielder, then I'd say take Gattuso plus Bergkamp. So then you're going to have Bergkamp kind of in that cam role, Gattuso in that defensive midfield role, and that would take you 23 icon swaps to get Bergkamp and Gattuso, and both of them are going to be really strong for you. You could even take, and one cool thing, you could take Gattuso and the next week or so, you can just kind of grind through some of these challenges, get you 7 icon swap tokens, and then you're going to have Gattuso, and then when we get the next set of releases, or next set of icon swaps released, you can grind for that Bergkamp, and then you'll have 16 for Bergkamp. So that, I think, is a nice pairing. Another nice pairing, I would say, would be something like, where is he? What was I going to do? Yeah, I was going to say Dalglish. Now, for Dalglish, I would not play him as a midfielder just because of his passing. Dalglish is only going to be like a striker role, someone that's just going to bang in goals for you. Another option is to take someone like Maldini, and then you can combine him with someone like Gullit or Overmars. So Maldini is nice in that you can combine him with someone else. So if you're a big fan of Maldini, I know a lot of you guys have played with Maldini over the years, know how absolutely insane he's been. I'm just a little bit worried about him this year. When I've played with him this year, I don't think he's quite as good as he's been in previous FIFAs. And again, mainly because of his agility and balance. So that is another nice combination. So we do have some cards here that you can link up with certain things like Gattuso. Now I wish there was a better combination for Laudrup. You could take Laudrup. Now I would say that Laudrup and Maldini would be a nice one. So you do have some nice ones here. But again, I'll say this. If you end up combining some of those, unless you do like the Dalglish or the Bergkamp, and again, I would rate Bergkamp over Dalglish. Dalglish may be a little bit more fun, but he's going to be replaced sooner. You can link them up with certain ones. However, if you go up here and you take Cannavaro, you're only taking Cannavaro. If you take Carlos Alberto, you're only taking Carlos Alberto. You just don't have enough icon swaps to get someone else. Now, the big thing is, what am I going to do? And again, I don't necessarily recommend this. What I'm going to do, and this may sound a little crazy, for Icon Swaps 1, I was still playing on my main team. I ended up taking Steven Gerrard, or what I've taken in the first two Icon Swaps is what I consider the best player in Icon Swap. So for me, the best player in Icon Swaps 1 was Steven Gerrard. I think it was his mid version. Played with him a ton on my main team, loved him a lot. Then in Icon Swaps 2, when we switched to our Christmas to Glory team, I took Essien. I just thought he was the best player out of everyone in Icon Swaps 2. But for Icon Swaps 3, especially, and this is why I highlighted this at the beginning, we have Team of the Season coming through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play for 9 Icon Swap tokens like immediately, within the next few days. I'm going to open up a Prime Icon pack. And that may sound a little crazy, I don't know, but I feel like this is the best way to get someone into your team that could be game breaking. Now, the problem with that is this costs 9 icon swaps. So once you take this, the best icon you can take is someone from Kaka down. So maybe what I would do is maybe try to do the Kaka. One thought I've had, like I said, and the market kind of dictates this as well. Like I was looking up Overmars earlier. Let's see what he's at. He's at about 750,000 on the market, and someone with these stats should be a lot higher. But so I don't know if I'm the only one that's having problems with him, or everyone is. If that's why he's only that much. But it's just something about Overmars. Something makes me want to take him to try to figure him out. Something also makes me want to try to get Kaka to work. So it's kind of the two players I'm leaning to the most are Kaka and Overmars. And I also would consider Gullit just because I love Gullit so much. But I know from experience his base version is nowhere near as good as his mid, prime, and moments version. So it's just a big drop off to go to that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, guys. I'm going to take this Prime Icon Pack. I'm like 99% sure of that. Because think about it. You have players like R9, you have Eusebio, you have Pele. When I looked earlier, there were about 30 Prime Icons that were worth more than like 600 to 700,000 on the market. And it may have been more. It may have been 32s. It's 30 or more. So at least a third of the Prime Icons are worth over like 600, 700,000 coins. So I think it's worth it. Even if we end up with a terrible player, our team is already not bad. Plus, we're going to have team of the season soon, so I'm not going to be losing out on much. Again, if I want any player above Frank Lampard, I'm going to have to wait 40 days to take them. So for my money, and again, oh my God, if we got prime icon Ruud Gullit, that would just completely change our team around. So there's just that chance here that you can get that player that's going to completely break open your team, change your team around, because we're not going to have that chance to get prime R9, prime Cruyff, prime Eusebio, any of those. So if we packed one of those, it would just completely change our team. Of course, we have the chance of packing a prime Carlos Puyol, who would be basically worthless, or a prime Overmars, who wouldn't be much better than this moments card as far as what his end game would be. So it is a big risk, but I think that's a risk I'm willing to take. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Prime Icon Pack, and then I am a little undecided after that. My number one thought is either taking Kaka or Overmars. Now, one reason I don't want to take Kaka, that means I have to get all 24 icon swap tokens. So that's a little, thinking of doing that, just that whole grind. I don't know that I want to put in that whole grind, but I guess I can. I've done it for basically Icon Swap 1 and Icon Swap 2. I think Gerard was like 19 or 20, something like that. So I only had to get 19. Essien was 23, so I had to do almost every single one for Essien. So it would be a lot of grinding to take Kaka. I love Kaka as a real footballer, so he'd be fun to try to get him to work. So Kaka, Overmars, or Hullet are the ones I'm leaning towards to combining with the Prime Icon pack. But anyways, guys, let me know down below what you're thinking of doing, what your plan is for Icon Swaps 3. Let me know if you have any questions. What I'm going to try to do on my main account, I've got several million coins. I'm going to try to buy some of these players, review them, let you know who's worth it, who's not worth it. Maybe what I'll do is just buy Overmars and just, try to get into several games with them on like a real team and see if I can get them to do anything for me. Maybe we'll try this base Hullet, see if he can do anything. Because what I'm saying on the base Hullet is based on previous FIFAs. Maybe this year it's a little bit better, but I have noticed from other players with big, strong teams, they never played with the base Hullet, and I've heard other people say similar things to my experience on that, but maybe it's different this year. I don't know, but so I'll try to review as many of them as I can so we can see who's going to work, who's not going to work this year. But anyways, guys, if you liked the video, give me a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe down below. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me everywhere, but I'll see you guys soon. Bye.